Hello friends! Black Friday 2025 is just around the corner, but theaters seems a bit off this year. What I'm seeing online isn't number made me buy it, but rather number reverse influencing and number no spending in November. Everyone seems to have suddenly woken up, collectively embracing anti-consumerism. But then, if you look at the news, mainstream predictions say sales are still going to rise. The National Retail Federation, or NRF, even predict that this year's holiday sales will exceed $1 trillion for the first time. This is strange. On one hand, people are complaining about being broke online, while on the other, data suggests buy. So, are Americans really out of money, or are they just pretending to be frugal? Today, let's break down the extremely divided and contradictory B-side reality behind Black Friday 2025. Let's start with the first major contradiction, which is the clash between data and wallets. On the A side, official predictions are cautiously optimistic. The NRF says sales will grow by 7% to 4.2%. Sounds pretty good, right? But on the B side, everyone's wallets are precarious. First, there's the debt bomb. The total debt for American households has soared to $18.59 trillion. Next is the credit card crisis. Credit card debt has reached $1.23 trillion. All new historical highs. People are even using credit cards to buy groceries. Finally, consumer confidence has collapsed, hitting almost an all-time low. So the question is, if everyone is almost bankrupt, where is the growth that the NRF is predicting coming from? Let me translate that for you. First, growth equals inflation. This is like your favorite restaurant, where the dishes haven't changed, but all prices have gone up by 3%. Even if you eat as little as last year, the total bill will still show growth. The NRF's predicted 3.7% growth, offset by a 3.0% CPI or inflation rate, means that actual inflation-adjusted growth is almost zero. Consumers are not buying more goods, they are simply paying more for fewer goods. Second, resilience equals debt leverage. Economists are still touting consumer resilience. Wake up! There's no resilience, it's all leverage. What they call resilience is actually the $1.23 trillion in credit card debt reported by the New York Fed. People are not spending with their salaries, but rather holding on with the last bit of available credit on their credit cards. Is this resilience? This is desperation. Okay, so what if credit cards are maxed out? Don't worry, Wall Street has a new fuel. Buy now, pay later, or BNPL. This is the real B-side engine of Black Friday this year. What makes BNPL so powerful? It cheats psychologically. It breaks down a large payment into multiple small amounts, making you feel like it's less financially real. But the B-side of this hidden fuel is a huge debt trap. This is because almost all users are Gen Z at 44% and millennials at 48%. How high is the risk? Listen to this number. In a past year, a staggering 41% of BNPL users missed at least one payment. It's not a substitute. The biggest misconception is that Gen Z uses BNPL to replace credit cards. This is completely wrong. Data shows that BNPL users have credit card debt as high as over 60%, while people who don't use BNPL only have 34%. Do you understand now? BNPL is not a rational financial tool. It is the last dose of credit consumers seek when traditional credit channels are exhausted, meaning credit cards are maxed out. It is a high-risk amplifier. Given such immense pressure, consumer behavior has been completely recalibrated. First, cutting items to preserve experiences. The first recalibration, people are starting to make painful trade-offs between owning and experiencing. PwC's survey provides key evidence. In 2025, consumer spending on physical goods decreased by an average of 11%. However, spending on experiential items like travel and entertainment remained stable or even increased by 1%. This means that when budgets shrink, people would rather cut a sweater than lose that concert ticket. This is because experiences are seen as a necessity for mental well-being. Second, the real avalanche, Gen Z. The second recalibration, and the most astonishing, is that the so-called average downgrade simply doesn't exist. This consumer recession is almost entirely born by Gen Z. Look at the data. Gen Z, aged 17 to 28, plans to significantly cut their spending by 23% during the 2025 holiday season. Baby boomers, aged 61 to 79, are financially stable and even plan to increase their spending by 5%. This is the truth. Averaged spending is meaningless. The 5% increase from baby boomers masks the 23% spending collapse of Gen Z. The financial situation of Gen Z, burdened with student loans and BNPL, is the true preview of future consumption. This brings us to the number reverse influencing mentioned at the beginning. If Gen Z spending really plummeted by 23%, why did they seem so cool online? This is the most brilliant analysis. Number reverse influencing is a cultural coping mechanism. Think about it. Option A, which is forced. I can't afford that influencer recommended item because I'm in debt and can barely pay rent. This is embarrassing. Option B, which is proactive. I'm reverse influencing that item. It's just trash, overconsumption, and we should pursue minimalism and authenticity. This is incredibly cool and morally superior. Reverse influencing provides a decent cultural facade for Gen Z's 23% spending plunge. It repackages a forced economic choice, which is being broke, into a proactive cultural choice, which is choosing not to buy. If reverse influencing is the cultural B-side, then dumpster diving is the physical B-side. Yes, you heard that right. On YouTube and Reddit, a subculture is emerging. People are diving into the dumpsters of large retail stores, and guess what they're finding? Not trash. They're finding brand new food, electronics, toys, and furniture. What does this have to do with Black Friday? A lot. YouTubers confirm that retailers, in order to clear space for Black Friday promotions, throw away piles of old but often brand new inventory. This is the most absurd part of the entire system. On the A side, a Gen Z consumer, credit card maxed out, burdened with BNPL debt, is scrambling to buy a discounted item on Black Friday. On the B side, another dumpster diver is taking the item that the A side person desperately wanted for free from the dumpster behind the same store. This is a system that simultaneously creates artificial scarcity and systemic surplus. All right, let's go back to the original question. Are Americans really downgrading their consumption? The answer is, this is not a simple downgrade, but a profound, forced, and contradictory structural recalibration. American consumers are divided. Economically, they are suffocated by $1.23 trillion in credit card debt, forced to cut spending. Financially, they are holding on with BNPL, a hidden fuel with a high delinquency rate of 41%, masking their true vulnerability. Behaviorally, they are actively cutting spending on goods by 11% to protect spending on experiences, which increased by 1%. Culturally, Gen Z, whose spending plummeted by 23%, is using number reverse influencing to package being broke as I don't want it. Physically, what people on the A side are buying with debt, people on the B side are picking up for free from dumpsters. So when the media is still asking, are you splurging or tightening your purse strings this Black Friday? For tens of millions of Americans, this is no longer a choice. This choice has been determined by their debt, their generation, and this absurd system. What are your thoughts on this divided consumption? Feel free to let me know in the comment section.